Welcome to Star Wars episode 60? They are continuing to fight. Welcome to Star Wars episode 60 something. They are continuing to fight. Who's they? You know who they are. The stars. This is Star Wars. Wars between the stars. There's all kinds of other kinds of shields over this too. You have a fourth dimensional shield under the guise of galactic federations. Different groups represent different personality types. Arcturians, Pleiadians, etc. This is a very light allusion, though, to the battle in heaven. The battle in heaven, as is written, where a third of the angels were cast out of heaven. They went to war against the dragon and his angels, right? And the Archangel Michael was the one who kicked the third of the defecting former angelic host out of the heights. This is jumping right off the page today, and you see it all over social media. You say, well, these people are not angels. I know that. These people are not like demons. I know that too. Flesh and blood human beings. They're people. I understand that. But the play, the overarching script, right? If you put script and culture together, you get scripture, scripted culture. So the script for the culture, the part that they choose to play, is on the hell side, the hellscape. And you can try and forget which side you on all you want until those sacrifices come up. So you got Star Wars. It stars rolling over on each other based on the sacrifices, really putting each other's offerings out there. And we're so in the midst of a reality TV spell that we're kind of taking everything with a grain of salt. After seeing what happened at the Oscars, you don't know what to believe. But there was practice. There were practice runs going on with this, going on with celebrity death matches. There were dry runs. Whether the people who are in power, in charge of the networks, are aware of this or not, that's up to you to decide. I'm just looking at the pattern. You can kind of see that, okay, we have to find out who the Archangel Michael is in the story then. And I think this can be a trap on 3D, because we might be looking for a singular person who could tear Hollywood down, because that's how it's looking. It's like there's one person speaks out, but it's almost like each person is speaking out against their particular industry. And it almost seems arranged and staged and set up. This feels like something that may have happened 100 years ago. Like, I think the idea of a reset is deeper than the quarantine, is deeper than the pandemic. I think the reset was set to happen regardless of a pandemic. Regardless. So in this reset, and I've said this in other videos, things have to be recreated. So you have to select a new cast of characters. And if the old cast is still there and they don't get elevated to a director position, then yeah, they're gonna feel disenfranchised and underpaid, because What they don't realize going into it, when they're a superstar, when everybody's screaming their name, when they're the headliner every single time, when they're the star of every single movie, or the starlet of every single movie, at that point, that's the big money, quote unquote. But at least it's the big fame to distract you from the fact that you don't got the big money. And so you can kind of ride off on that, because the war involving your star has not started yet. You're just getting in the game. Everybody loves you. It's freshman jinx. It's beginner's luck. You're getting the welcome mat. You're getting the trial period. But once that trial period ends and you find out how much this thing really cost, when you find out that it really wasn't free the whole time, that it was really just a test of equity, then you'll find your star at war. Because the name of the game is for other stars to shine. It's still almost like a sick mockery of the way the universe works. You know, before a star goes out, it'll change colors. It'll start to fade on you. First it'll be like dazzling white, dazzling blue. And then as it starts to die, that it starts to get off-white, starts to dwarf, turn into a white dwarf, and eventually a red dwarf, a brown dwarf, and then full-on implosion, and then supernova. That's what happens with a star. Pay attention. Stars implode and then explode. What you're seeing when their name is in the lights, their fame, when their star shines bright, that's when the star explodes. So you have this cosmic union that comes in space when it comes down to a star being born. There's debris from a former explosion that pretty much gets collected. It gets collected, it congeals, and that becomes a mass, a planet or a star or whatever the case. But they call it I think it's either solar or cosmic union that takes place in space. So naturally, on the ground level with stars, if you're talking star or star talk, then yeah, the stars have a welcoming party. As always, this person looked out for me when I first got in the door. This person helped me put me under their wing. This person bought me lunch when I came here on an Uber to the set. This person looked out for me. This person showed me how to read the script. This person taught me media training. This person told me to watch out for this person. It starts like that. You got the welcoming committee, you got the welcome wagon. It starts that way. But if you're not built up in equity the whole time when you're thinking it's free, when it's all really just being charged on a card known as your likeness, you are the charge card, superstar or star. Because not every star is a superstar. There are some people who are just stars actually fighting with superstars. In the royal, it's almost a Royal Rumble, the way stars are jumping in and jumping off and hopping online and popping offline and jumping on IG and off IG and jumping off FB and off FB. You can see it. And there's a startling elephant in the room, but the elephant is chopped in half. It's an elephant in the room, but it's been chopped in half. Here's the half of the elephant that's visible. Is the fact that these people are people. Just like you and I, they're people. That's the elephant in the room. You didn't think these superstars were gonna one day be on YouTube? Right? Not all of them, but the ones that are just stars, because their star is going to eventually burn out. And where's the ground? Social media. That's the ground. Not offline. Now, if you're content to just go off into obscurity and be put out the pasture that way and settle up offline, you fall through. That's like falling through a hole, falling down into a sinkhole. You know, you can't just say, well, I'm gonna make it big offline. All of that is gonna be personalized if that's the case. You can say goodbye to fame, but you can say hello to fortune. Because now if you're gonna do it like that on the ground and you're not gonna get any help from the stars and you're gonna shine, you're gonna be your own sun, your own star. You're not gonna join any kind of celestial script. You're not gonna join in the play. You're not going to join in the guild. You're not going to join in the craft. If you're deciding to do all of this, yes, it will seem much harder. And yes, you'll feel like nobody cares about what you're doing. Nobody wants to give you a handout. Nobody cares what you're up to. Nobody believes that you'll succeed. But look at the alternatives. I would rather have people doubt me and me still be able to make my money than to have everybody believe me and be like, he's rich. It says it right here. He's netting 132 million. Ask me how many how much of that money I can spend without calling it in for approval. And so with that being said, whose money is it? Is it really worth it now to be put in front of a figure of money? Is it really worth it to stand in front of a luxury home that you really don't own, and every time you step in it and use any appliance in it, you thinking about, I better make these people happy, my superiors, or they're gonna cut me off? The survival questions are different on the other side of things. When you're saying, when you're on the outside looking in, when you're on the outside, when you're not involved in the Star Wars, you can say, look, I'll get mine on the ground level. You can say that I'll get mine without the friction. I'll just have them not believe. I'd rather have them not believe in me, right, than to have my soul sold and to break down in front of the whole world something that you probably weren't willing to do when you only had $20 to your name. But now with 20 million, you're wearing your feelings on your sleeve. But y'all still actors and actresses. You guys are still entertainers. So in this time of elaborate deception, we're gonna naturally think that you're still in character. We're gonna naturally think you're still in character because there's some things that kind of dictate, again, that aside from the name that a star may have in a role, whatever their quote-unquote real name is another character. But it's a character that's put on for the real world. That's why I say, welcome to Star Wars. Episode maybe 60 something. They're still fighting. Super T Sigma, stay illuminated. Peace.